What is up, new community students and friends? Hey, welcome to all of you joining us. If it's our first time meeting, I am Minister Alex, the student minister. You're tuning in to our Sunday morning sermon. We're right now in a series called Good Christian, Bad Habit. And here's the truth, good Christians can still have bad habits. The purpose of this series is to teach you about possible blind spots in your life so that you can create better habits. The first week, if you remember, go back, definitely want to watch this series. We talked about deception. And see, what we learned about deception was deception conceals, but Jesus reveals. And last week, if you tuned in with us, we talked about wasting time. And see, wasting time is such a bad habit that a lot of us struggle with. And we looked at Jesus's disciples and a man named Daniel and the impact that they had and how they learned not to waste time, but instead make the most of it. And so here, when thinking about the disciples and all of those who walked with Jesus and saw Jesus do something for their family, I think we all have had a thought that if we would have just lived when Jesus was living on earth, we would be better followers of Christ. And maybe we would even trust God more. So here's a common thing we do as Christians. We have a bad habit of not trusting God. We have a bad habit of not trusting God. Think about it. All of the miracles in the Bible, and even the miracles you and I see in people's lives, it's just become so common to us. Like Moses and the Red Sea splitting, God giving food from the sky, David killing the giant, when Jesus himself was resurrected from the dead and others were raised from life because of his power, they went back to be with their families. Check out Matthew 27, 52 to 53 on your own time. It's a good passage there. You and I have even seen and heard of God doing things in people around us. But for some reason, we still have a bad habit of not trusting God for our own lives. Here's the thing, our theme verse right here is Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. It says this, trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in everything that you do, and he will show you which path to take. And now, I want to bring you into a story, okay? It's a little bit of a long story, but track with me, okay? Because it's important here. We're going to go to Luke chapter 1, verses 6 through 16, and then 18 through 22. It says this, I, Zechariah and Elizabeth, were righteous in God's eyes, careful to obey the Lord's commandments and regulations, right? A good Christians, right? They had no children because Elizabeth was unable to conceive, and they were both really old. So one day Zechariah was just serving God in the temple for his order and was on duty that week. And as was the custom of the priest, he was chosen by lot to enter the sanctuary of the Lord and to burn incense. While the incense were being burned, a great crowd stood outside praying. Here's what happened. While Zechariah was in the sanctuary, an angel of the Lord appeared to him, standing to the right of the incense altar. Zechariah was shaken and overwhelmed with fear when he saw him. But the angel said, don't be afraid, Zechariah. Really easy to say that, right? Just, hey, chill out. Don't be afraid. God has heard your prayer. Your wife, Elizabeth, will give you a son, and you are to name him John. You will have great joy and gladness, and many will rejoice at his birth, for he will be great in the eyes of God, the Lord. He must never touch wine or other alcoholic drinks, and he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, even before his birth. And he will turn many Israelites to the Lord their God. And see, here's the part kind of relatable to us, right? Zechariah said to the angel, how can I be sure that this will happen? Right? Doubt. I'm an old man now, and my wife is also well along in years. That's a nice way to say she's old, right? Then the angel said, I'm Gabriel. I stand in the very presence of God. It was He who sent me here to bring this good news to you. But now, since you didn't believe what I said, you will be silent and unable to speak until the child is born. For my words will certainly be fulfilled at the proper time. Meanwhile, the people were waiting for Zechariah to come out of the sanctuary, wondering why he was taking so long. And when he finally did come out, he couldn't speak to them. And then they realized from his gestures and his silence that he must have seen a vision in the sanctuary. From a human perspective, his doubts were understandable. But see, what we need to understand is that with God, anything is possible. And that is the issue. It's our human perspective for our flesh to get in the way. See, that's our issue. Our flesh often gets in the way. That's where the doubt came, right? So, what's today's takeaway? Here it is, real simple for you. Start trusting God. Start trusting God. 1 Timothy 4:12 says this, "Don't let anyone think less of you because you are young, but be an example to all believers in what you say, in the way you live, in your love, your faith, and your purity." See? And you already heard our theme verse, right? Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Don't depend on your own understanding. Seek His will in everything you do, and He will show you which path to take. See, so if God did it before, back then, He's powerful and able to do it again in your life. But we've got to trust. We can't let our flesh get in the way. We've got to fully lean on God. We've got to be led by the Spirit. That's my message for you all this week. I want to say a huge God bless you to all of you.